do that at the end, but I want to go up and over to the cool giant pool. Find a Keyhole Limpet.
Hey. What's up?
Oh no, there's people where I want to go. There's a lot of poop. It definitely comes from a bird. Either a seagull or a pelican. So maybe pelican. Let me know if you know your poop.
All that white stuff is poo.
Oh my god, you guys, I just found a Keyhole Limpet.
That's pretty good.
Have you ever seen a Keyhole Limpet? A giant Keyhole Limpet? It's a very cool animal that covers its shell with its mantle, which is this black, leathery, slimy structure. It's usually about this big, has a really bright yellow foot. I believe people eat them. I think people extract their blood. I don't even know if they have blood, but for like medical purposes. They're an all-out amazing sea creature. And all that buildup, I'm gonna grab it really quick to show you. I gotta be really fast because they have a big foot, so they like
Wait,
to
you
suck
found
on.
one?
Yes, I found one. Anyway, I'm gonna grab this giant Keyhole Limpet and show you how cool it is. This one actually looks pretty small, so it might not be that giant. Wish me luck. Very dangerous. Don't try this at home.
Getting dirty.
Oh, it's just a baby. It's just a baby. It was hanging upside down for a really long time. Maybe I'll insert a little clip of what it looked like before I grabbed it. But it was stuck upside down, hanging on to the rock for dear life because the tide went out and it was stuck in that position. It looks a little in disarray right now because it's been out of the water for a while. As you can see here, you can see a little bit of its shell. But as I mentioned, it has this black mantle that usually completely covers the shell. There's a little hole in the top that I believe is for excreting waste, maybe pooping out of it.
AKA
AKA a butthole. I have to fact check that. There's that bright foot I was talking about. It's very sticky and slimy. And then it has a little face. It's being shy right now. Anyway, this is a little one. Usually they're much bigger than this, but it's still very cool. And we'll do it a favor and put it in the water right side up so that it's not stuck upside down, waiting for the tide to come back in. There's my little friend. Say goodbye. This spot especially is very difficult to walk around. You want to be very mindful of what kind of seaweed you're stepping on because some of them are very slippery. The rocks can even be slippery themselves. Sometimes you never know when there's a little crevice because it's covered in seagrass. And then you step in this hole that you didn't know was there. I like to tell people when they're starting to have at least 3 points of contact, so one hand on something and 2 feet, until you're skilled enough to walk around. But I even fall a lot, and I'm probably honestly gonna fall today. Oh, look, another flatworm. Flatworms look pretty similar to sea slugs in that they kind of have the same shape of their body, but flatworms, like their name, are a lot more flat. And instead of having gills, they can just, I believe, exchange oxygen through their skin. It's just riding along, doing its thing, hanging out next to a brittle star. Pro tip, you can use your shadow to block out the glare of the sun. So it looks like that compared to that. Another pro tip, you can get a selfie. Wow. I just came over to look at this abalone shell and realized that there's a bunch of other things living on it, including the cutest little sea slug sitting right next to a sea anemone. This is a Hilton's aeolid, a type of nudibranch or sea slug. And this one, honestly, it looks a little messed up. You can see that its body's covered in those kind of black spiky structures. Those are called serrata. And right here in the middle, it looks like a lot of them are missing. It's kind of lumpy there too. So maybe this sea slug got attacked by something and is recovering. Maybe it was just born that way. And here's the cute little sea anemone it was hanging out with. I keep hearing baby sea otters. Oh my god! So baby sea otters, if you don't know, they make this noise. God, that's so embarrassing. I didn't even do it right. So every time I wake up late and it's like an hour, 2 hours, dude, the freaking sea otters. Anyway, dude, I keep getting distracted by these cute sea otters. I was gonna say, every time I wake up late and it's like an hour, 2 hours after the low tide, I just don't go because I assume it's too late. But I just found freaking 3 more sea slugs. And they're some of my favorite species, so this is your sign. And there's cute sea otters everywhere, and it's just great. And there's barely anyone out here. I also think you get rewarded when you do good things, like pick up trash in the tide pools. Because now I'm just finding so many sea slugs. Wow. Now for all of the nudibranch nerds out there. I'm going to show you more of the sea slugs we found. Sea slugs are still my absolute favorite animal to find in the tide pools. It feels like catching Pokemon. I still haven't caught them all, but that's the goal. If you want to find sea slugs, just look for bright specks of color in pools of water and under rock surfaces. Sometimes you might find their eggs, which is what we see here, and that's a good sign that there are likely sea slugs nearby. They're a lot smaller than you might expect, so you have to look very closely. In this case, I just saw a bright pop of color, which is the opalescent nudibranch, and then when I was looking at it, I realized there was a clingfish right next to it sucking onto the rock. I ended up finding tons of the opalescent nudibranchs because of their bright colors. It makes them pretty easy to spot. I also found a species that I don't typically find, which is this cockerel's dorid. It has these beautiful structures with bright orange tips coming off of it. These ones are really tiny, so you have to look very closely in order to find them. If you know me, you know that the clown nudibranch is one of my favorite species. This one looks very similar, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. And when I found that one, I realized there was a 3-lined aeolid close by, which is even smaller. Those are all of the sea slugs I found, but then I found the world's largest chitin, which is pretty amazing compared to these tiny sea slugs. I finally found the wandering meatloaf. Ooh, that's a good one. So, up here is the mouth. This is its foot that it uses to suction onto rocks and things. Its foot is lined with gills. It's kind of closing up right now because they don't like to be picked up. But when they're stressed, they curl up to be a little Pac-Man type animal. And it has the cutest little baby crab on it. I think it's a baby red rock crab. Here, it's opening up really nicely for us. In the middle is the foot that it uses to suction onto rocks and cruise around on. Around the foot, those kind of ridge structures are the gills. So it pulls in water through there and is able to get oxygen. This red part is known as usually the girdle or the mantle. And then up here, kind of hiding away, is the mouth. And this animal's also known as the wandering meatloaf sometimes because it looks a little bit like a meatloaf from this angle. Oftentimes when you walk by, you might just think this thing is a rock or something, not a living animal. But it's kind of like a mullet. Business in the back, party in the front. It's the mullet of the ocean. Thanks for watching, everyone. And if you made it this far, comment meatloaf so I know who the real Nudibranch nerds are. Anyway, thank you so much for the support. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.